Welcome! This is Diane, one of 5 awesome optimists. Today I want to talk about embracing change. Now I know that, with all the stuff that's going on, change. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stuff that we can't control what happens. Stuff that just automatically gets thrust upon us that we can't help but experience. Like we either it just comes to us. Like, for example, this week, the change in the weather. I live in Southern California and it has been one of the hottest summers ever, and so just this week, I don't know what it was, but it was this crisp fall change, just like that, like on a dime, and all of a sudden I'm like, I need a blanket at night, where I was putting a fan on just, last week. So, but then, as I am all snuggled up, and then I woke up in the morning, and this delicious cool breeze, as it was just caressing my shoulders and my face, and I go, oh, that's fall. It's fall. It was amazing how beautiful it was. And then the whole day was just this amazing crisp fall day. And then, other change that's happening with different people that I know. Us right here on the 5 Awesome Optimists channel. We're letting go with Lisa, and we're getting Andy. And, everything that we have is like a coin that has 2 sides to it. And I know I talked about this before, but everything has something great about it, and everything has something not so great about it. And it's sort of that little circle thing, that yin and the yang, the 2 opposing forces that actually support each other. Because if we didn't have one, we wouldn't appreciate the other. It's opposition. It's change, and it is something that if we can learn to just take a quick little step out of our immediate circumstance and look at things in a longer scope of time, with a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of experience, we will be able to see that all of the things that we have endured and actually overcome and triumphed by doing so, we've actually made ourselves grow into stronger, more compassionate, more enlightened, more loving people, if we let it, if we focus on what's good. And here is where it's so fantastic to have a view of optimism, and not a ridiculous, unrealistic optimism, but to make a conscious, intelligent, deliberate choice to focus on the good things and not the bad things. I was just talking with a friend of mine who had a girl fly in from a different state to meet him and everything, and they were talking, and everything that they were talking about, all she hung on to were the things that he addressed as concerns. And he put it in a really interesting way. He said, that's what you got from our conversation? You have this whole big, armful of all these wonderful things, and you're choosing to hold on to this little bucket of barbs? How sad is that? That, my friends, is what a pessimist does. They hold on to all the negative things, and they ignore or have blinders on the wonderful things. Don't do that. Don't do that. It doesn't mean that we, don't acknowledge the things that are not so positive, but it means that we don't magnify those, that we don't focus on those. And I like to say it like, if I have this rose in front of me, and I've used this several times, where you have this amazing, beautiful rose, and you just, cut it from the garden. And so, yes, it has thorns on it, and it has this beautiful, fragrant bloom. I went to pick some of these flowers. These roses from my mother's garden are absolutely the most fragrant, beautiful. They look almost like a peony, and when you're cutting them right from the bush, they have I got thorns on them. But see, if all you look at are the thorns, that's all you'll be able to see, and you'll miss out on the spectacular bloom, which is the full purpose for why a rose is created, is to give us that amazing blossom. Now, I've also heard something like this too, where have you heard this analogy where, you know, in your car you have this big windshield and then this little tiny rear view mirror, and you know, both of those things, if you're looking in your rear view mirror like that and you're always looking back, well, what you're missing is what's in front of you. And so yes, it's important to look back sometimes. It's important to look back sometimes. We need to, for safety, for growth, for security, but look at the percentage that we should do it if we use that as our goal. This huge big windshield versus a little tiny rear view, you know, rear view mirror type of thing. So if we have the right percentages of, you know, taking time to look back and also looking forward, this is what the beautiful thing is about change. Yes, it's sad. We're totally going to miss Lisa. I'm so sad. But I am so excited for the opportunity to have another fresh view. And honestly, sometimes I think, oh, I wonder if they're sick of hearing from me. So I always try and mix up my messages and keep the variety going and do that, because I do. I sometimes think, you know what if they get tired of hearing from me? And so I think change is a great thing. And if we can embrace change and the good things of change, I think we'll be happier, more optimistic people. And also to realize that everything in life is change. Nothing is constant except for change. Nothing. Everything in life is temporary. You look at your photos of yourself, you know, from 2 weeks ago, from 2 years ago, from 20 years ago. Everything changes, you know. I mean, for me, from day to day, my hair changes. You know, I'm like, everything changes. And for me personally, every single element in my life that would be normally considered security for people has changed. And so instead of looking back and crying like I was for a while, I've learned to have this sort of free fall and surrender and just say, hey, I'm just going to focus on the good things and be grateful and have a heart full of gratitude for the things that are great, and love this time in my life. I remember when I had little kids and we'd go to a place where they're playing with their friends or something and they're having the greatest time playing, and then when we'd be leaving, we don't want to go. We don't want to go. Well, kids do that, but you know, as adults, we sometimes do that too. But if we can look with a little bit of those same things, wisdom, experience, we can be grateful for the times that we do have and be gracious and say, you know, now it's time for a new chapter in our life. And this book of life that is my story, it's time for a new chapter. I'm not gonna, you know, go back. Maybe I can do a little bit of editing and erasing and do whatever, but now it's time for a new chapter, a wonderful chapter, a more enriched chapter because of the chapters that preceded this particular one. So not to worry, not to be sad, not to ignore, but to embrace the change that comes upon us. Age, new jobs, health, you know, whatever, for everything that there is in life that may be considered something we don't want. If you look, and this is the part about being a true optimist, you will find something that is wonderful to embrace in the change. I promise. And I have lived this way, and I know that it is. I think it's a great way to live, because then you're filled with gratitude. And gratitude brings hope, and hope brings optimism. So thanks for watching. I'm Diane, one of 5 awesome optimists.